Listen up, dear friends. Today we're sharing a story about a life or death moment. Let's dive into Melanie's emergency. Scarlett was frantic, buzzing around like a bee in a bottle, looking for a doctor, only to find the hospital packed tighter than a can of sardines. At this turning point, Scarlett's strength erupted like a volcano, her eyes steady as she coolly took charge. "Come on, Melanie, let's do this." Sweat was pouring down like a waterfall. With her hands smeared in blood, she gritted her teeth and pressed on, ultimately helping Melanie deliver that baby like a pro. But the Northern Army's cannon fire was getting louder, and Scarlett knew she had to skedaddle right away. She shot a desperate message to Rhett, and when she finally saw him that night, her emotions erupted like a volcano. "I miss my mama. I want to go home and see Sarah. Sarah's house is toast. It'll get you if you try to save me. I will. I will. I will. I will. All right. Now you're all crying." Rhett gently wiped her tears. That charming rogue always knew when Scarlett needed him most. That night, they hopped onto the horse-drawn carriage Rhett bored like a scene out of an adventure tale featuring a thief and a witch. Along the way, they witnessed food being looted and the townsfolk displaced. It felt like a never-ending tragedy. Every step felt like walking on the edge of death, but suddenly the carriage halted and Rhett's face turned serious. He declared he wanted to enlist, spurred by a surge of patriotism from what he saw on the road, and lifted Scarlett down from the carriage. With deep affection in his eyes, he said, "I love you more than any woman, and I've waited longer than anyone else. This valiant Rhett Butler wants you to feel his strength and to remind you of your beautiful moments together. Scarlett, kiss me, come on." He forced a kiss on Scarlett, but she pushed him away like a pro, and bam, Cold War activated. But he stood there like a statue, letting Scarlett verbally assault him like it was a sword fight. He gazed at Scarlett, his chest heaving as if he could see a wild rose blooming bravely in the storm. Those sharp thorns were merely guardians of her brave soul, and Rhett loosened his belt, ready to protect her. Then he vanished into the night, leaving Scarlett with an unprecedented feeling of loneliness and fear. She had no time to grieve. The road ahead was like a lotus blooming through fog, and Scarlett never gave up. Rhett was right. He was braver than any warrior, the carriage bumpy in the rubble, and in the distance, explosions. It felt like the explosions were forcing him forward, but when he finally returned to Tara, the scene before him was gut-wrenching. Charred ruins, barren fields. The mansion was a shadow of its former self, and his mother had passed due to illness. His father had lost his mind too. Under the evening sun, he was utterly exhausted, stepping into the fields. He yanked out a carrot, not even bothering to wash it, and chomped down like he was at a buffet. Tears blurred his vision as his father's voice echoed in his ears, but in the next moment, his gaze turned steely. He tightly clenched his fists, raised his head to look up at the sky, and let out a roar. From that very moment onward, Scarlett seemed to have been reborn. With newfound energy, he grabbed the gun left by Rhett and shot at the northern robbers without hesitation. He transformed into a one-of-a-kind hero, forcing everyone to huddle in the cotton fields. Talk about jaw-dropping. Tara is their roots. They simply can't lose it. With the war over, the North clinched victory, the soldiers awakening from their pain, and Ashley reunited with Melanie. They thought peace would bring tranquility, but the arrival of northern merchants was like adding fuel to the fire. Scarlett was suffocating under high taxes and turned to Ashley for help, only to find he had vanished. The suave boy of yesteryear had been utterly destroyed by a war totally lacking any spark. Just when Scarlett was at her wits' end, a northerner tried to buy Tara. Scarlett angrily chased them away, but when her father found out, he tried to chase after them for vengeance and fell off his horse. He died right there, and losing her family was heartbreaking for Scarlett, but she didn't give up. She thought of Rhett. Scheming to gather tax money, she yanked down the velvet curtains and skillfully stitched the dress. After a careful makeover, she nervously headed to visit Rhett. Rhett's eyes widened in surprise when he saw her, but then he noticed Scarlett's hands. Those hands were no longer soft and delicate. They looked as if they had survived a battle. Rhett's enthusiasm instantly fizzled out at the sight of her hands. Scarlett was even willing to sell herself for that $300, only to be ridiculed by Rhett. Subtitles. Furious, Scarlett stormed off and, on her way back home, encountered her sister's young Frank. Eyeing his shop, a spark of cunning crossed Scarlett's mind. She knew all too well her sister's selfishness. She knew she wouldn't spend money to save the estate, so a wild plan began to form in her mind. She claimed her sister was engaged to someone else and that she herself was marrying Frank.